Everyone to the June 1st, 2023 Bellingham zoning board of appeals meeting. Looks like we only have one item on the agenda, 156 Mechanic Street. I entertain a motion to waive the reading.
Motion to waive the reading?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Obviously, you guys are from 156 Mechanic Street.
Yes, yes.
State your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Paul Ferragamo, 156 Mechanic Street. This is my son-in-law, Wesley Whitlaw.
Wesley was on 9 Spruce Street, Blackstone, Massachusetts.
Once you give us a brief look at what you're looking to do.
We'd like to make the garage that I already have look real nice. And my son-in-law wants to repair luxury cars there.
What type of foot traffic are you looking at?
I mean, we're talking maybe 4 or 5 cars a day at the most. I mean, it's just gonna be me, to start. I have no plan to turn this into a big thing. I've been fixing cars for 20 years, strictly Mercedes-Benz, and electric vehicles, Mercedes electric vehicles. Personally, I'm done with the dealership world. I wanted to work for myself, but I don't want a big production where I have, 5, 6, 10 employees. I'm only looking for, somebody make phone calls, need to fix cars, and that's really it. But, it's not what you guys have for a plan right there, 3 bays. If you compare that picture of the garage, the layout of the garage to the actual plot plan, what we're actually just looking to extend out a little bit of the shed and just put 2 bays. So there'll be a total of 3 bays. One would be an alignment rack, and the other 2 would actually be for fixing couch, more or less. So that's really all I'm looking to do. And it is in my in-laws' house. They will be staying there. Paul has had a business since day one. They've been living at the property for 40 years. He's not retired. And it was an opportunity for me to open up my own shop and work from there. If I ever did want to get big, I would not say. I would not expand that. I would just leave it the way it is. And it's still his property. I would just be working there. And I guess from what I understand, the thing is that it's right now it's residential first, business second. The way the zoning is of it, I guess, and we're looking to do like.
I think it's zone business.
It's own
But
business.
it's currently being used residential.
Yeah,
So if the house wasn't there, you'd have no issue opening a business there.
right,
You would
right,
need a home occupation permit.
yeah,
So it's one or the other.
right. So I guess what we're trying to do is, it's still essentially like in the family, and it's not looking to expand, but we didn't want to just do it, we want to make sure we're following the rules and doing what we're supposed to. So be able to, I can put it up in this house. And it would be strictly German luxury, like I can do some BMW stuff, some Porsche stuff, and electric vehicles, that's pretty much the way of the future, and gas is gonna go away eventually. And I'm fully certified across the board, and all of it, so.
How many square feet would the entire garage be at this point?
It would be altogether, I believe the total was 1,600. Which you would see on like the, it's not really, it's not the plot plan.
It's on the plan, on the regular plan.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
1634 would be the total size. There's really only an addition of, as you can see on the actual like plot plan, the addition's 28 by 8. So right now it's roughly 1,000 square feet. We'd be adding.
We're just squaring off the front of the building.
Yeah, that's all we just square it off. And then the height would match the garage. So what you see right now, on the color printout, that's the actual height. There's no expansion to the height. We may be looking, as long as it was okay, to just bring that shorter roof up to the same level. Just for height to lift in, to be able to lift cars. That would be the only. So may go up to the same level as the high spot of the garage right now, and then come out about 8 feet. It just happens to be 28 feet. That would be. Yeah, that would be it.
How I got a question about this.
Yeah, if I may, where are you gonna park the cars that you're not working off inside the shop?
Oh, so it's actually a very, if you look at the plot plan, it's actually a very large, lot. So we have the whole, what's marked as the gravel drive.
Yeah.
And what we also have as parking spaces, it would be 10 for, there would essentially be 10 spaces, one handicap, which would be, say, 3 or 4 cars held over, 3 or 4 come in the day, there's a handicap spot, and there are 2 additional residential spots. That still leaves that entire top left corner of the plot plan is open. So they would all be up there and they would be, I believe it's set back 100 feet, it's set back about 100 feet from the road. And that's all trees.
Yeah, you can't see that.
Yeah, no, it's,
In the winter, you can a little bit, but.
yeah, it's really, and it's kind of like down a little bit. It's like the way that's all leveled out. It's right now, it's probably about like two feet lower in that spot, but it's all flat. And it's all gravel. I have no plan to pave. Just to keep it gravel because it's good for like runoff and stuff, so you don't get pond in a pool.
And you have trees on both sides, so they're not visible except when you're right in front of the driveway.
Yeah, you would have to be like coming in. Or if you were coming from Franklin, you may catch it for a second. But it's really not.
And for employees, do you have a minimum, maximum number of employees you're gonna have?
Maximum would be 4 to 5. If I was able to turn 5 and 6 cars out a day, maybe I had somebody that would watch cars for me, go get parts, stuff like that.
And these are not members of the household.
No, there would be no members of the household. My wife is interested in being involved. Somebody makes phone calls, like a service advisor will call people. And Paul and Laura would still do that. They may be my show, that's why I have
I
somebody.
might have to sweep the floor.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna live a lot longer if he doesn't have to work at a dealership.
So I am just gonna throw this out there so you guys can ask the question about this. Home occupation, or I read the bylaw. You know, from inside that you would be pulling a home occupation permit where the bylaw reads.
Okay.
And as we get further down, it makes you well beyond 25% of the house side.
Yeah.
There is limitations on employees.
Yep.
So I mean, if Paul was to pull a permit, you would be his employee, you'd be able to have one more. Okay, I think the bylaw reads second or third person.
Correct.
There's nothing about a 4th or 5th person.
Yeah.
So you're in this gray area right here because you don't occupy the home.
Right, no, I
Home
totally,
occupation
I understand,
That's that home occupation.
that's why I wanna make sure we're doing everything right.
If Paul was coming to the board.
Yeah.
You would be the employee.
Okay.
I think the board needs to fully understand.
Right.
that.
Paul wouldn't count because he's a member of the household. You would count as one. Paul would not count as
As an employee.
an
Yes.
additional employee.
So, did you say the bylaw was 2 or 3?
Actually, it says second or third person.
Okay.
All
Second
in
or
the
third.
house. And so you do not be, so if, and again, this is the stick point I've had with this since I read this, I'm just gonna be very honest with
Yep,
you.
no, have at it.
Um,
We wanna do the stuff right.
Yeah, no, and I really appreciate that, I'm sure the rest of the board does too. You are not being the occupant of the home.
Yeah.
You don't live there.
Yeah.
That's a stumbling block.
Yeah,
So we'll just reverse it that if Paul was pulling a permit, you would be employee 1.
okay,
You'd have to be out as an employee unless you resided at that house.
Yep.
If you reside with your mother or father-in-law, it's your point at this point.
right.
So as written, like you're saying, then Peter, is that it would have to be, you can't pull the home occupation for
I don't believe I have,
another.
I may be incorrect, but. But
And so, just, I know you're familiar with the existing business that he's been there for 40 years. He's dealt in, screening materials. It's been kind of an intrusive business to have there. But he's experienced, in the last 5 years, what's going on Route 140. So, he's being squeezed out by businesses, okay? He's at his retirement age now, obviously, he wants to bring his son-in-law, and I understand the bylaw, but you do have discretion to put conditions on any type of operation, you know, that comes before you, just like Champion Fence, you know, 4 years ago. They came in front of you, they had several family members living there. One of them was the owner of the business, but they also had employees. And you conditioned it to a certain area of the yard, you know, and you kind of reined it in. And they operated there pretty good, you know, for 4 years, and then they went to another location. But they were in the business zone as well as this business here. So I just want to, you know, paint the picture for you that, you know, he's a longtime resident. And you do have the discretion to put conditions and adjust in any way that you guys, you know, to make it work for, you know, particular applicants, depending on, you know, the intrusiveness of the business. It is in the business zone, you know, and like I said, you know what's gone on in that corridor in the last 5 years. He's kind of being squeezed out. He's tried to sell his home, you know, in the past. He was gonna move out of there, couldn't sell the home because of, you know, there's a lot of business around. So I think what he's trying to do is, you know, stay there and just make something work with his family, so.
And to piggyback on what Tim said too, is if there is, let's say the business were to somehow not operate anymore, then obviously what you're granting now wouldn't be valid anymore. So, and we can write whatever the board so chooses, if you choose to go that way, with the conditions as you see fit, whatever way you would like to go with this.
Paul's always done anything that we've asked, you know, during this development period with his business.
Yeah, and I have no issues with that. It's just, in my mind, that's the one stumbling block I have is, you know, that doesn't mean the rest of the board feels the same way. It's just my personal. It doesn't mean I'm totally against it by no means. I like what you're trying to do. So I'm just gonna throw it out there so the board can have your discussion.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Absolutely.
Are you going to have any signage?
I would like to at some point, if it's. My first goal is to use the internet as my signage. You know, like I said, I don't necessarily want people that are just driving down the streets pulling, just like do a quick oil change. This is gonna be you come here, you get that fixed. It's gonna be fixed. It's not quick, I'm not looking to do quick turnaround stuff like Jiffy Lube or something like that. So I don't think there would be a need for signage, and if it came to that point, then I would reapply.
A home occupation, unfortunately, the sign bylaw, is only allowed for an accessory, is only allowed a 1x1 sign.
Yeah, that's why I was curious.
Oh, all right.
A primary, this is primary residential.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's an accessory, this would be an accessory, it's only allowed
I wouldn't waste
sign.
$50 on
On the mailbox.
Yeah.
No, on the mailbox, you could do a one, we have several businesses in town that on the mailbox, they do a 1x1 hanging on the mailbox kind of thing. You know, that's the way it is.
Okay, then, all right then. Yeah, like in all reality, I don't really think that, but I'm hoping I wouldn't need a sign. I'm just looking, like I said, keep it small. I'm not looking to make $1 million a year. I'm just looking to work for myself and not have somebody else.
And then
I make people, it's more of a trying to do the American dream. What am I doing?
And it seems, well, I think that, you know, I do appreciate you guys are doing that, you know, being straightforward and open about what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And then I guess the only concern I would have is, and it's not, you know, anything related to your, you know, what you're looking to do, it's just traffic impact. Or traffic, because that is a tough area now that you have that intersection. Do you know with the cars, when you're bringing them in, do you imagine there's gonna be?
No, because if you're coming from the Franklin side, it would be a right turn right in. And if you're coming from the Bellingham side, in the works in the last couple of years, there's actually a left turn lane that holds 2 or 3 cars. Right, that actually goes in. It goes into the house.
It goes into the new development.
Oh, at the streetlights? Okay. And that's actually like before the drive.
Yeah,
So like the traffic impact, I would assume is already there.
I think I guess that's the thing, is you wouldn't be adding, I guess it's just another impact to the potential to the traffic.
I would, if
I would think that the other developments are obviously the primary.
Yeah, instead, if I was to put it at some kind of percentage, I would say 1 car every hour or 2. Would come in all reality. If I can only, I mean, I'm just me, and that's really all I want to be. 5, 6 cars a day, that's a car every or 2 at the most. Maybe 1 coming in, 1 going out, you know. We run into it where everybody's at the house and three of us all leave, and somebody's coming in the driveway at the same time. Because I'm not looking to do like an additional driveway or anything, everyone's gonna be the same. And possibly put a fence up, just as split my house from the business, so it's not intrusive to them.
Is there currently another business operating on the property?
No.
Okay,
No, it's been,
That's it, I'm done.
That was-
I'm toast.
But he's run his business for 40 years since they bought it. And now he's retired. So the loom business has actually been there until, when you start, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
2 years, yeah.
that's all I have.
I just have a couple questions. I noticed in the rendering, looks like there's kind of a dormer or a window. Is there sort of like a half floor up there? Or are you doing anything with that space?
There is kind of a half floor up there,
Okay.
that would be, closed out.
Okay,
And that would essentially be like a storage, say, for parts and supplies,
got it.
is
Okay,
what I would do with that.
okay. And then, you mentioned that you're working on electric vehicles. Would this require an installation of a charging station on the property?
It wouldn't be required, but it would be very helpful. With that, I actually have an electric vehicle that my son drives. I put 2 chargers on my house, the level 2 chargers. And it wouldn't be any bigger than that. It wouldn't be like I wouldn't do like a Tesla supercharger or something like that. It would more be like a maintainer, not for you to come in and charge your vehicle, but for me to say charge.
Test the car if you needed to, yeah, okay.
I wouldn't be any kind of like. Unless I was charging that. That would be it, but it wouldn't be an open with people.
All electricity, right?
It's a notice.
Are there any special disposal requirements when you're dealing with?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I've been dealing with that for a long time. I don't envision that I would have the need to have like 55-gallon drums. Anywhere, I don't know if anybody knows this, if anybody buys oil, wherever you buy it from, that place has to take it back. So that's how you recycle it. There is already, and it's been permitted, there is a waste oil furnace, which I would use for oil. And the same applies to engine coolant. Engine coolant is corrosive. Whoever sells it to you has to take it back for disposal. That's just part of the deal of them being able to sell it. Same thing with batteries. Even if you got a battery for your lawnmower at Home Depot, they have to take it back and sell it. And I wouldn't be a supplier. So I would get stuff from parts stores and they would have it. I'm well versed in chemical cleanup. We would have everything on site to do with chemical. It's concrete floor, so it'd pretty much be okay to the sawdust without to clean up and have hazardous disposal containers specifically for that.
Are you selling any product at all? Or just
No,
a service of?
It's a
Maintenance.
strictly service,
Perfect.
strictly automotive repair.
Okay, and have you considered, I don't know, blocking the parking area, just screening it from the street?
Screening it from the street, no, because right now the trees.
Okay.
Like, there's just in that, what you can see for the driveway, if you look at the left side of the gravel drive, that's where the trees start. Which
So it's
essentially,
behind it, so it's behind
Yeah.
that.
so it like comes up and goes to the left, so everything is way off.
If you look at the rendering, when you're coming down, because you look at this property for a decade, 2 decades. You could barely see
Right.
this part of it. Yeah,
Looking
you
at
could
it
barely see.
from Google View.
Yeah.
There's only when you're straight in front of the driveway, that's the only time you're seeing the cars parked.
Yeah, you might, if you were driving from Franklin, you might see it for a split second.
And for
Before it disappears.
commercial vehicles, are you also repairing any commercial vehicles? Is it only-
No, it would just be personal. If I was to do a commercial vehicle, it may be they're known as Sprinter vans. They kind of look work vans that are they're considered commercial, but no, like, I'm not doing pickup trucks, company vehicles. I'm not looking to do a fleet service, or anything. I'm looking to do strictly personal cars, personal people. Yeah, I'm not looking to do, like I said, if it was commercial, it would be like say a plumber or. That would be it.
And as you bring that up, one of the concerns I have is Amazon's gone to Going electric vehicles across the
Right,
board.
start
I
having,
would hate to see 52 electric vehicles sitting down there.
right.
I wouldn't be able to.
They don't-
I'd have to have 20 more days. You know what I
We
mean?
will certainly, if this gets approved, discuss a maximum of vehicles, registered versus unregistered as well. I don't think for commercial property, there's a bylaw for unregistered vehicles.
What is it you want?
That's a good point. So I did inform them originally, everything has to be registered. There can't be no unregistered vehicles. He doesn't have a used car license. So everything has to be a customer car. You can't bring cars in and repair them over months and have no license plate on it. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
So we police that regularly with their licenses every year. You can't have unregistered unless you have a dealer's license.
Yeah, I'm not like, it won't be a junk car. I'm not gonna keep like constant. This is like, part of the reason why I'm specifically picking German luxury is so I don't have, I mean, most of the people that buy those cars have the money. And I'm not, I'm not a used parts kind of guy, so. You know, that's not how I plan on it. Company motto, be fix it once, fix it right. You know, that's what I'm looking for. Any other questions for Al?
Hours of operation, is it just gonna be Monday through Friday?
Yeah, no Saturdays, no Sundays, be Monday through Friday. The actual business itself would be open either, I'll just say 7 to 5. I haven't decided if it's gonna be 8 to 5, so I'll just say 7 to 5. If I have to work late, I work late, but people won't be coming. Don't be close. It's not, yeah. We're not doing 12-hour dealerships.
And there's no plans for you to move to that residence?
At the moment, no, as long as my in-laws still taking.
That's like asking me how long I have left.
Not that I can see me happy.
No.
My personal hitch on.
Application of the bylaw.
Yeah. Well, if they get old enough that they wanna go to the nurse.
Or move to upgrade to another house.
Or to another house, exactly.
Yeah.
To the Cape, right?
Yeah.
There's any questions for you?
No, no more questions.
Just one
Yeah,
last,
go ahead.
so Amy, there hasn't been any kind of, I mean, there aren't really abutters, but.
The
nothing
abutters were
from-
notified, and so, you know, obviously they're not here, and I don't believe there's anybody on Zoom. So, you know, the one thing I think the board should know is, you know, the applicants definitely did their due diligence beforehand to meet with us and really, you know, talk to us about what their plan was, which I think, you know, is a good thing, because a lot of times people just do what they want to do without meeting with the various departments, and I think, you know, again, they've been here for a very long time, and, you know, obviously however the board so chooses, but, you know, it is in business one. And we can permit this with some conditions, whatever the board so chooses, with whatever decision you render. But that doesn't always happen, that we have people come in and actually want to meet with the department to really look at this design. That's it. So
So you're telling me you're one of these people from the public? You'll be,
I don't believe so.
Open it to the public.
DOB's town of Bellingham, right?
I know someone's acronym. Sorry. Yeah, I'll just do it out of general. Any with the public, any comments? Someone will make a motion to close it for discussion.
Motion to close the hearing. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, pretty big. Didn't think guys. I'm sorry.
Totally fine. I mean. I don't know, they've done their due diligence. I mean, I think given the area that it's in, it's not really a residential area anymore. And probably should be considered for some sort of zoning conditions in the future. So I think as long as we put the brackets around, you know, our reservations, then, you know, I think it's okay.
Yeah, I agree with Liz. Generally, there are some things that are challenging. It's, you know, how many employees are gonna be on premise? Do we count Wesley to be, you know, member of a household and then an additional 2 or 3, or do we say, assume Paul, is a member of the household, and assuming he's the applicant, and then it's gonna be 2 or 3 in addition to Paul. So that's something, I feel like I'm more, since they're here, they really provided us with very clear plans. They kind of had all the answers to our questions ahead of time. I am more apt to go with, considering, 2 or 3 in addition to Wesley personally, but I don't know what the rest of the board feels. In terms of having, screening for the vehicles that's usually required, I do see that, there's no coverage there. And as long as it's not working on large commercial vehicles, since I think, it does say kind of, exterior parking of a commercial vehicle. If you're gonna be parking commercial vehicles there, I think the bylaw mentioned exterior parking of a commercial vehicle. I don't know if the board wants to stipulate that as well. But overall, I do appreciate all the work that went into this, and given that the zoning area is residential and business, it's not really changing the nature of the area, or
Yeah.
it's not intrusive. The character, or, it's not intrusive to the butters because it's kind of secluded. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, I guess that corridor, I'm kind of like, oh, it's another thing that could potentially add to traffic, but it's not due to them. And I think it is just like there's, I think everyone's gonna say there, it's kind of gotten squeezed out. That whole area, as opposed to the bylaw about being the home occupation, not being, changing the character. Now that how your grandfathered in having the residence is what's kind of the oddity in that
It is.
immediate area.
If it was the other way around, it'd be a lot easier.
Yeah. The park, I mean, it looks like a fair amount of spots, but I think that's probably the nature of what you need. The 11 spots, I would imagine, right? The one handicap.
I would say,
And the screening, I think that is good too, because like you said, driving by it, it's definitely heavily screened.
right, it's,
And then I kind of rely on that no one else,
Well,
the
I can-
audiences.
I
come
can tell you
forward.
this, it's so well screened.
It is, yeah.
And the 20 years that plus I've been in Bellingham, I had no idea what you were doing on the property. Okay, that's just,
That's the way I
that's
wanted
how
it.
well screened it is. I will give you that.
Then I'm a happy
I
guy.
had no clue. So I have equipment out there, I'm like, "Yeah, the guy looks heavy."
It's a really good loan for the trees that grow very fast.
Question I have is, can we, and again, I'm getting over, but can we actually issue home occupation permit to someone that doesn't reside there? Can we technically actually do that?
If you were gonna do it for Paul, that's what, why can't we do it for Paul? And then you're the employee, like we had stated
That
before.
would make it cleaner and not set a precedence
Right.
for another property.
Tim, how does that,
Well, zoning board can do, you can condition anything
I know we
the
can.
way you want. You have the power,
But see,
you
this
have the power.
is really not a condition though.
It's not a condition, but
Yeah.
you can approve with conditions or, any type of criteria, that's up to you. That's up to the board, if everyone agrees on it, then you can alter it any way you wanna do it. It's a special permit. It goes with this business only. So once this is up, that's it. So you can condition it any way you want it, that's up to you.
It's a business or a person.
it's the person that owns the house, which is Paul.
This is the
So
thing,
it's-
but yeah.
I think you can do it to Paul and then have, you be the employer, and that's,
Would we be concerned if something happens to Paul and then Wesley's whole thing blows up? Right, that would be my concern in doing it that way.
I get that.
You could also condition it where they have to come back once a year to review, in case there's any kind of, if there's something that maybe you think it's grown out of, he's growing out of the space or something, you have the opportunity to review it. Yearly too.
Or if we hear enough complaints, I like usually stipulating if we get, 2 or 3 complaints, then they have to come in front of the board and discuss it. Rather than enforcing them yearly.
we could draft something. I can work with Jim to draft something before we submit it, if that's what you guys so choose, we could work on that language. And then, hold off to sign it after you all review it. To make sure that you're comfortable with that language in regards to.
I mean, personally, I'm very comfortable with what you're doing,
Mhm.
100%. I'm just, in my mind, I feel like stuck on
Mhm.
the technicality of who the permit is issued to based on who owns the property.
Mhm.
That's my,
I appreciate what you brought up, because I would really hate this to blow up in like 2 years or something like that, and then I can't do anything. Just because of the rules, that's why I wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
that-
no,
Right, you know what I mean? So,
and I don't think anyone would come knocking on your door, the day after something, or if something happens, say, get out of here.
Right.
You know, it's not-
No, I know.
By any means.
it's just part of me wanting to do something like that.
In the interim, I guess, while you're, Jim draft something, should we just reach out to town council? and Get their thought on it? I see what Peter's saying, it is cleaner if it's right.
It's that one technicality where the permit's being issued to someone who doesn't own the property. For home occupation, this is the way it's worded. I mean, I want to just throw it out there and say 100% yes, but
Do that.
that's just my.
I also agree 100% with what Ray said, to make sure that's conditioned, that specific sedan or whatever vehicle, that it's not.
Yeah, we need to
Yeah.
talk about how many vehicles
That's
can
key.
store on property.
Mhm.
Right.
So-
Maximum vehicles, maximum employees. But also, are we able to grant it to all now, or does it have to change, the application have to change?
Well, if we granted it to Paul. And the permit goes with the business.
The property owner in here is Paul, and
Right,
so
yeah.
that's,
He's on the
he's,
application.
and he's on the application, it's on the
Yeah.
deed, so that's
Yes.
really who, and, you know,
I mean, so technically, and this is, I'm not a lawyer by no stretch of the means, that if Paul was to pull a permit. And the two of them are quote in business together.
and they are family members,
they're
keep
family
in mind,
members.
they are
So
family
God
members.
forbid, 40 years from now, something happens with you,
Thank you.
he's still covered because he owns the business too. Because the permit goes with the business.
Right. Or if you decide to move something,
Right.
you just really don't like the house all of a
Right.
sudden, and you decide to move, then. He's having the business with another owner, so that's kind of,
Mhm.
what I would agree, that's a main reason why that stipulation
Mhm.
needed.
Mhm.
It could get sticky later on.
Yeah, I think we can write it so that everybody's covered. I can have, we can write something up if the board's
Yeah.
comfortable, however you so feel. We can have Jim look at it, we can have town council, we can have Tim, and then we can,
I think you could probably take a vote, if the board's inclined to approve it. You could approve it based on, consultation from them.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
I'm still going to move
Yep.
forward with it.
Yep.
Are you comfortable with what we're discussing?
yeah, I just want to make sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, the rules are rules. I mean, I started my family here for the first 2 years before I moved to Millville and then to Blackstone,
Mhm.
but I just want to make sure that we're doing. I just want to do stuff right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
we
if
appreciate
if
that.
you were living in the third bedroom in the house and you live there, this would be an extreme viewpoint.
Right, no, I
really would be.
totally understand. That's why it's never been a problem for Paul to run his. business
Yeah.
there, You know, because he owns everything. You know, so I just want to, yeah, like I said, I just want to make sure I'm playing by the rules.
All right, so we work with the conditions.
Absolutely.
Max vehicles, what do you guys think about for condition?
I mean, there's 10 spots, 11 spots. And they're all gravel, so if there's no cars there, you probably wouldn't even know they were parking spots, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, one is gonna have to
How-
indicate for handicap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
how many,
Two residential?
Yeah, so we purposely drew that up to have, so it'd be essentially 9 for the business. No, well, 10 for the business, one of them's handicap, and, the other 2 are for the residents. But there's so much land there that, I mean,
Is it 10 though? Would there be an addition? There might be some you're working on that are in,
well, what I'm figuring is maybe,
like in the garage.
well, I mean, eventually, if I can, I mean, if it's okay, because it's not outside, I can leave cars in the garage overnight. I can put 2 on lifts and then drive 2 under it.
I guess maybe we don't care. Yeah, that's true. We don't care. We're just talking about what's that.
Unregistered vehicles on private property, if they're in the garage. they're in the
Okay.
garage.
Yeah, that's fine.
So you guys comfortable with 10 vehicles?
To me, just not parking outside the designated areas shown on the plan, that would be my stipulation, just don't park them anywhere, just park them within those spots, that's what I
I mean, if it pleases the board, we could slide that whole thing up to the left a little bit. So it's behind the whole tree line when it comes to the parking spaces too. So that way there's none visible from the street at all.
Put them anywhere you want.
Yeah. Wherever you guys- It is, and on the backside of the property, it's like a 50-foot hill where they did like the valleys and stuff. So I know there's like a huge development going in the back there. You can't see from back there at all, so you never see it. It's so tucked away.
And again, I don't think, unless someone is really trying to see it.
Yeah.
If you have 8, 9 cars, then no one's gonna see it out there.
Would there ever be an instance where the business is open, you're completely full up and like Paul's having a party in the middle of a Wednesday? So there's like all these people coming to visit you? Just checking, cause
He's way past that.
yeah, cause I didn't know, I just wanted to make sure that if he's full up doing his thing in the business and like you've got 5 people coming over to your house for some reason at the same time.
No, yeah, I totally understand. I guess my only thing with that would be there's so much room. And nothing, even if he had 5 or 6 people, you probably know. I could literally, probably put 75 down. It's actually very. I mean, if you picture the size of the house on the plan, so the house and a pool. I mean, it looks like I could fit 10 of those in that top left corner.
Yeah, okay.
And all that's already cleared too, except for the front facing, like street area. And that was specifically done, so. Oh, you know, he is.
Again, never knew she did that,
Mhm.
which is awesome. That's, yeah, you ran your home business and do the thing.
And I think, just stipulating, having 2 or 3 complaints kind of covers, should they be overflowing parking? Or we get 2 complaints, they're parking too many cars on 7th Street, you come back in front of the board. So
Yeah, I would have no
I feel like that's
problem.
the should cover any of that. Should it happen and Paul decides to change, party a lot. all of a sudden.
Whatever you guys-
Right.
And,
Employees.
number of, so yeah, it would be number of employees, 3, 3 complaints or more come back. What else? No commercial vehicles,
We gotta
Or,
be,
I mean-
yeah, we gotta be careful with that.
not too many,
And what's that?
You're allowed 1 light commercial vehicle,
1, okay.
Okay, but if,
per our regulation.
okay, but
That's,
if he got a contract with JB Electric and they needed to drop 2 of the utility vans off to service. I'm trying to be cooperative with someone trying to do something right.
So a light commercial vehicle is considered a commercial vehicle, commercial plates, a leaded vehicle, like a work truck. That's what.
Mercedes makes a Sprinter.
Yeah, you're allowed 1 because, look, the primary use is residential. And you're permitting a business on it, but you're permitting it with conditions. So our regulation now, as it stands, they're allowed 1. So if you guys wanna expand on that, it's up to you, But our regulation says 1 now.
When you say light duty, are we talking
Light commercial vehicle, yeah,
1,500, 2,500?
like a 3,500, yes.
It's light commercial.
I would say I'm not gonna work on anything that you couldn't get an inspection sticker at a regular station. So like trucks and stuff, you have to go to like the truck one on Farm Street, I think is the only one left.
250
Yeah. It would be, I wouldn't work on it. It would just be anything that you could go to any place, like Raleigh Tire.
That actually brings up a question. The larger of the doors, how tall is that door?
The main doors.
This door is 11.
Oh, to one.
Yes, you're not getting big vehicles in there, right?
No, I really don't think that I would do sprinter vans, because they are so tall. Like, I don't think I would have to get a different lift. That would be to be able to support the weights.
I'm very comfortable living with the regulation 1.
yeah.
I know some people have to put commercial plates on like a car or something because it's part of their business, but I'm not looking to do anything like. I've seen pickup trucks. So I'm not looking to do anything. Like those Amazon vans and stuff. I really don't want, like, even if they wanted me to do all their EV stuff, I'd probably tell them. I don't know. I just wouldn't want to deal with it. They're too big, they're too bulky. I wouldn't have room. It would look like a warehouse.
All right, so we got number of vehicles, number of employees, max of 3. hours of operations, when you say 7:30 to 5:30.
Seven to
5.
five. 7 to
Yes,
5.
7 to 5, 7 to 5.
No Saturdays or Sundays.
And no
Yeah.
holidays. Be the major holidays, Christmas,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Follow-up question, would you ever do like drop off, like, what do they do at the dealership where you drop your key in and?
I would make that an option if it was good for the people. Where I'm currently employed right now, we have loaner cars and stuff, so people can drop a car and then take a loaner car. Well, I'm not planning on doing like loaner cars, but if it's a convenience thing, if somebody wants to drop the car off at night.
Mm,
We do have like where I work now, we have lockbox.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
fill out a little paper thing, you put your key in it, you throw it in the lockbox. And on a little notepad, you put name, address, what's wrong with it, how can I get a hold of you, what do you want me to do?
Thank you. Paul's dog will be running out to 15 minutes, 8 o'clock at night.
They won't stay long.
So that would be a possibility, but that would add to the fact that being me,
Might-
like, can only do
it
so
might
many.
spread out
cars.
the traffic too.
Right.
Where people coming
I
in.
mean, I don't think that would create a nuisance to. the
No,
neighborhood.
no, I was just curious.
And for number of employees, what are you thinking?
Are we talking
Do you just max it to
three?
3?
Yeah.
And are we considering? Legally,
Well, I guess it depends on what town council says about the permit, right?
Yeah. I mean,
I think you can leave that with max, the number of employees to be determined based on town council's recommendation. You know, I mean, we can
Yeah, I mean,
leave it open enough
I
that
think
once
the
we hear
board
back.
all
we
feel
can-
confident about
Yes,
what you're doing is the
Yes.
technicality of
right.
do the permits issued to,
Mhm,
right,
to cover
Mhm.
ourselves.
That's fine.
Same as you're trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
We need to do the right thing too.
I really, maybe probably the next 5 years, I don't see me need,
mhm.
you know what I mean, so.
including yourself.
Yeah, including this. I use somebody answer phones, maybe a run around and me rent it.
Mhm.
That's really it.
All works for free.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
Volunteer.
I like to talk to people so we can show people the trade, they just give rides to them.
Good, unless anyone else. No. Anyone, want to entertain a motion based on the criteria we laid out?
Start a motion to accept. The special permit with the stipulations drafted and upon review and agreement from town council.
Mhm.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can you also, maybe within that motion, put, with the stipulation with town council, give the authority for the chairman to sign the decision once we get that determination, just because I would hate to have you wait, because then we've got the
Then we have to
appeal
bring it
period.
back to another
So
meeting.
if we can
And-
amend that motion to basically stipulate that once we get the approval from town council, obviously I'll circulate it to all of you. Don't comment back to everybody, just comment it back to me. And then that way we can give it to town council, just because we can't have everybody discussing it in an email. Just because we're not allowed to do that with open meeting laws. So if once I draft that decision, I send it to you, you can give me comments back, and then we can send it to council. And then at that point, if everybody's okay with it, then we can have Peter sign it,
I'd like
then
to,
we can submit it to the town clerk, and then it's a 20 days,
I'd like to amend
if that's
the
okay.
decision with what was stated. We want to do that? Do we need to second and vote again?
I don't think we do, do we?
Okay.
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think, technically, we just gotta make sure that,
Mhm.
again, we do the right
Yeah.
thing, so
Absolutely, absolutely, no.
we don't want you to come back 3 months from now, and I count as, oh, you can't do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, no, yeah, and that's why I'm doing it.
How quickly do you think we can get to respond to that?
I'm not sure, I don't know. So, I'm thinking we can hopefully get something back by next week, but I don't know. I don't want to say we can do it tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday,
No,
but I
but-
just don't know. I
We're
don't
far
know.
enough away from the Fourth of July holiday, we're not
Right.
there yet, so.
Right. I'd like to get it by next week and get that filed by next week. I'd like to do that early next week if we can.
How long it takes, it takes.
Okay.
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not,
thanks for your patience.
I'm working right now.
Yeah.
That's-
No,
Okay.
we appreciate
Yeah.
what you guys are doing. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
You're pretty responsive.
Yes.
Reply quick.
Okay, great. Yeah. Good.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Fill the votes.
I'm getting no meeting minutes, correct?
Yes, but we didn't circulate them, because we can't circulate them attached them. We will have them next time, once everything's figured out. Yes, the Dropbox will be fixed next time, and we'll all be good, up and running.
And,
Yes.
I asked Amy, and it's probably you guys. Cheat sheet that she does for us. Yeah. Has a couple meetings. Great, maybe
Yeah.
put it in the Dropbox with.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I can put that in there, good.
I know I like to read it ahead of
Okay.
time.
Same cheat ahead of time.
Cheat ahead of
I'll
time.
get to the sections, I can do that, good,
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very helpful.
good.
This,
All right.
yes, we need a motion to close this meeting.
Motion to close.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, Amy, for setting